this has Texans fans fired up. Well, at least it's got me fired up, that's for sure. They're talking really badly on our franchise quarterback and just how it's a prove-it year, it's his third year in the league, and just because of a sophomore slump, that does not mean that CJ Stroud is not a top 10 quarterback, and that's what everyone's talking about. But Christian Kirk, the new recruit, is praising his quarterback basically for his mind, being a young quarterback, and looking like a veteran. The rookie year, great year. Sophomore year, had some problems with the offense and the receiving core and the offensive line. So I really would give Stroud the benefit of the doubt as we jump right into today's video. Now, if you're new to the channel, 77% of you are not subscribed. The support on the channel has been unreal, so thank you guys. And leave your comments down below on your thoughts on CJ Stroud. I'm sure all Texans fans can agree with me when we say this is probably the best quarterback the Texans have had all time. I mean, there really is not a second option unless you want to go with Deshaun Watson, because CJ Stroud, this is his prime years to go ahead and try and win a Super Bowl with the Texans before they give him a big, massive contract extension. But the whole rumors of what I'm getting to is CJ Stroud is now being depicted as, is he going to be a good quarterback or is he going to be a bad quarterback after this lackluster season? And he really, honestly, he didn't even play that bad. But the fact that people are saying that he's not a top 10 quarterback and, oh, remember when CJ Stroud was a top 10, it really is alarming to me, because I think CJ Stroud is going to have an MVP season. And I don't just say that because I'm a Texans fan. It may sound like that, but looking at it on the surface, this really is a team that could go to the next level. And the hardest thing that you're going to have is getting used to this new system with Nick Caley. I mean, that's the thing. I really do think that Stroud can be an MVP candidate. It was said last year that the Texans had this team, the Texans this, the Texans that, and that's where I hated all this buzz about the team last year, because when there's buzz about a team, it never translates, right? The Texans go out, get Joe Mixon, go get Stephon Diggs. Oh, the Texans are a Super Bowl contender, this, that, the next. Now there's not enough talk about the Texans, and that's where they can go on a run. And that's what you want to see. The last thing you want to hear is, oh, this team is a Super Bowl contender, they're the best team in the league, because that's kind of like jinxing it to where it's not going to be good. The worst problem, like I said, it's going to be getting used to the system. But this year, with the receiving core that the Texans have, they have so many guys that they could just replenish and get used to, because there's so many guys that could just rotate. And this is the team. You have Joe Mixon, Nick Chubb, Nico, Jaden Higgins, Christian Kirk. And Christian Kirk's comments on CJ Stroud have just been phenomenal. And it really is remarkable to see somebody talk about somebody that highly this early on in the season. I know you expect that, but let's just go to Kirk.
I'd like to hear how much he impresses you just when he converses with you about ball.
Yeah, the thing that sticks out about CJ is he's super mild-mannered, but he has a lot of confidence, and he's smart. He sees things well, and he's a really good communicator. And I think, at that position, especially being a quarterback and with him being a younger guy, that's a big part of, him getting to where he is now and still excelling, is just the communication piece with not only the receivers, but, new offense coordinator, offensive line, whatever the case may be, is just open communication and, us being all on the same page to help him excel, because, he's going to take this team as far as we want to go with him being at his best. And so he's been great, just within the few months of spending time around him, communicating with him in the locker room, outside of the facility, whatever the case may be. He's got a bright future, and, really excited to get to work with him.
The biggest thing Kirk had mentioned was the communication issues. And that's the thing not issues, but that's probably the hardest thing it's going to be for Stroud to get used to it. But he's going to take this team as far as he wants to go. We'll go back to that for a second. That's how much you look at. He's going to take this team as far as he's going to go. That's really all you need to hear. Christian Kirk is going to help to this team a lot more than I think anyone's going to expect, especially all the casuals in terms of, the Jaguars fans and the Colts fans are like, yeah, Christian Kirk, he's old, he's washed, he's injury prone. Kirk is actually nice, and he's not only a great route runner, but he's got good hands, and he can open up the middle of the field perfectly. You have Nico Collins on the one side, Nico Collins 2.0, and Jaden Higgins, who's probably going to have a monster season. But Kirk's also there to be the leader in the wide receiving core. Nico Collins is getting up there to be close to an all-pro, probably top 10 wide receiver, and he's kind of that veteran leader now too. And that will help for guys like your rookie Jaden Higgins, your other rookie in Jalen Noel, and this is where you're looking forward to the most is what Christian Kirk can offer. And on the field, you can see Kirk is ready to roll. There's no doubt he's absolutely locked in, and you know this is going to be a relationship that's going to be coming in the future. Stroud to Kirk is going to be a lot of fun to watch, and I can't wait. This is what the Texans did, and it was so smart. You would get a lot of mouths to feed. Christian Kirk, Nico Collins, Jaden Higgins, Jalen Noel. Tank is expected to be back sooner rather than later. Hopefully Tank's recovery process is going okay. The biggest problem the Texans are going to have is how far can they go? And Kirk said it himself. CJ is going to take the team as far as he wants to go. But I feel like not enough talk is being about the Texans. It's all of a sudden, and this is going to sound weird, but all of a sudden the NFC and AFC have been flipped. For years, it's always been said that the AFC is this powerhouse. I think the NFC is starting to slowly overtake that. And for years, it was like whoever got that fourth seed in the NFC, they were just like not looked at as competitors. It was like whoever in the NFC South got there and got first round. Not the point. I feel like that's how everyone's looking at the Texans. You're looking at Houston, and it's like, whoever wins that division, they're not going to go anywhere. They're not going to do anything. That's just how I'm looking at it from the way everyone is talking bad about this team and saying that CJ Stroud, we don't know what he's going to do this year. If anybody watched the team last year, the offensive line was abysmal. The wide receiving core was very banged up. And your offensive play calling was even worse. Now, you have two great running backs, Nick Chubb, Joe Mixon. That's a run game for you. CJ Stroud had no run game his rookie year, and it turned out to make him look better. If he can communicate, get a good hold on his offensive line, and check at the line of scrimmage, and have the ability to audible a Nick Caley's system, there's no doubting this team's going to go extremely far. But you love to see Kirk just praising his quarterback, and I mean, I really am a big fan of Christian Kirk. Funny enough, my buddy's a Jaguars fan, and I have Eric Murray's jersey, and he has Christian Kirk's jersey. So we're actually going to do a jersey swap because, as everyone knows, Eric Murray, our defensive safety last year, now on the Jaguars. Kirk came over from Jacksonville, so it's fun to see that. And I just need to get some more jerseys on the team. I have some behind me, and we're just going to have to work on it. But it is what it is. Let me know what jersey you want to see. I haven't changed the Andre Johnson one just because it's a little bit different, if you know what I'm saying. But overall, besides the sidetracking, what's the likelihood that the Texans win the Super Bowl? Because they're like around the top 10 mark in terms of teams that are fit in terms of looking at the odds for odds, the betting odds to win the Super Bowl. The Texans are about top 10. And I think they are a top 10 team in the league. It's just a matter of, can they get it in? Can they win the division? Can they be a top 2 or 3 seed potentially? And what can you do from there? That's the biggest question mark. And honestly, I'm looking forward to seeing how the rookies mesh. Because the first half of the season is going to be the hardest. But the second half is where you are defined, if that makes sense. And especially in the postseason is where you make your mark. And I think CJ Stroud, this is his time to go on a run, whether it's this year or next year, because once you pay CJ Stroud, it's going to be difficult to rework a lot of these extensions, because you look at the team right now, I wish I had a graphic, but the biggest thing with the team right now is the fact that you don't have people signed to long-term deals. You have Danielle Hunter signed on a little bit of a longer-term extension, Nico Collins, but after like 2 years looking at like 2023, 2024, you don't have a lot of players signed for like, 2026 or 2028. You want to try and get those long-term extensions, but it's hard to do that when, one, right now the Texans don't have a lot of money. You have to also think about how long is Danielle Hunter going to be able to play at a dominant level. I think he's got a couple of years left, but again, approaching the 30 years old mark, you have to kind of think about these things. That's kind of why I believe Laramie Tunsil was traded, because again, 31, his contract expired next season. He's going to want, $30 million a year because he thinks he's the best offensive tackle in the league, which he might be, but 20 penalties, we can argue that. My point here, you want to get people secured, especially Nico Collins, especially CJ Stroud, and probably Will Anderson, Derek Stingley. You got Stingley locked up for the long term, but that's really your only option. You have young rookies. You have Pitre. You have Kamari Lassiter. You just brought in CJ Gardner-Johnson for veteran presence and is a good player at safety still. The Eagles played him at corner. He wasn't very good. Here's the thing. It's a young team ready to win now with a new system and a great coach in DeMeco Ryans. With so much culture and so much praise and so much positivity around this team. J.J. Watt even said this looks like a different environment in terms of the teams that we're looking at. Houston is built different, especially the other players coming in and talking about this team. They're talking about going to win a Super Bowl. Nick Chubb came to Houston because he wants to try and win a title. And I love that that's the team he chose, because realistically, I would say the Texans are probably one of those teams that are underrated. And you guys gotta let me know in the comments. But this is going to be a good season. And Christian Kirk talking very highly of his superstar quarterback, CJ Stroud. It's going to be an awesome year. Still got a long time until the season starts. But some off-season kind of news. Trying to talk a little more about Texans. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. It's been Mike Zanetti, Texans Digest. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you in the next video.